Hey Bruce, how you doing?
Good afternoon. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being willing to join us on the podcast. Hey, as we get started, tell us who you are, what you do, who you do it for. Give us a little heads up.
My name is Bruce Skowronski. I am Director of Sales for Envision Painting and Roofing, also a member of our leadership team. We cover the valley as far as both painting and roofing is concerned. I've been with the company 8 years now. The company itself has been in existence for about 18 years.
Fantastic. And you and I know each other through um, I almost said the word. I didn't say networking through a business development platform
There you go.
called Accelerant. You guys have been awesome. You and your company have done work for us personally with the casita we built last year. You guys did an amazing job, both on the inside of that as well as the outside of the house, and helped with some restuccoing that we had done. And the place looks fantastic. So I can't thank you and the team enough for helping my wife, me, and the mother-in-law as well, who we moved into the casita, who absolutely loves it. So you guys do phenomenal work, and I've been excited to have you on the podcast.
Well, I thank you for those kind words, and it was a pleasure working with you. It's always a pleasure working with you and meeting with you.
Oh,
And yeah, we look forward to continuing the relationship going forward by all means.
absolutely. There you go. So obviously you're in painting and roofing. I'm in mortgage. Tell me, let's talk about real estate, business. How are things going for you guys? Obviously, we're in the middle of summer here in Phoenix, which is, it's 100 and something degrees outside. It has been for it seems like the last 90 days or so. In general, how's business going for you guys?
Business is moving along nicely for us.
Yeah.
It is normal during the summer months, especially when school is not in session, for the residential painting end to slow down just a little bit. People are on vacation, people are enjoying their backyards, their homes, things like that. Kids
Hmm.
are around, so they don't necessarily want to get involved in either an interior or an exterior painting project then, which we
Great point.
completely understand. Now that we're already in later August, we've got some students that have been back in school for a month already, so that end of the business is beginning to ramp back up again as
Ah,
normally would.
okay.
Um, it will stay busy now, probably right on through into the early part of December as people are getting their homes taken care of and ready for the holidays, things along those lines, and finalizing any plans or budgets that they had in place for 2025.
Gotcha. So I know you don't do just residential, do you? You've got commercial, HOAs are big for you. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Commercial projects, any type of commercial interior or exterior project we can handle without a problem. Multi-unit HOAs, whether they're townhomes, individual homes, communities, things along those lines. We did just wrap one up a couple of months ago where we did 43 individual homes within the community. So
Oh,
anything
wow.
along those lines are definitely within our wheelhouse.
Fantastic. Who's referring you most to this business? Are you this online? You guys running ads? I see a lot of companies, you're running commercials in the mornings when we're getting up and around. Are you guys all word of mouth? Well, what's best for you guys?
A lot of what we have done has really grown and developed with us over time. Warm referrals, warm connections, follow-ups from previous jobs. We work very closely with property managers, facility managers, anything along those lines to help
Okay.
build out the business and the relationships. We work very well with the boutique-sized property management companies,
Oh,
taking off of their plate a lot of the day in and day out problems that can develop or situations that develop within a painting job. We'll notify the residents, we'll keep them apprised as to what the scope of work is going to be, what the timeline is going to be, marking off the parking areas,
got it.
notifying the building tenants or owners
Oh,
when that
wow.
is going to be done. So this way, the property manager themselves are not getting hammered with all of these questions
Right.
throughout the course of the project.
Wow, good for you. What from a uh, with the weather being what it is, we were thinking about you guys recently. We had a microburst here a couple weeks ago, and the wind was blowing 50, 60 miles an hour. It got up underneath some of the clay tiles that we have on the small pitched roof that we have, and we had a couple little stains at the top, not leaks through, but just some stains at the top. And I'm wondering at this time of the year, monsoon season here in Phoenix, it must be kind of crazy for you on the roofing side.
It is a very important time of the year. It is a very busy time of the year, and it's the type of thing that you have to be able to react promptly on
Right.
because a storm could develop or kick up literally out of the blue.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, just what you said, people will notice a leak. And with the fact that these last couple of years really haven't been that heavy in terms of monsoon activities, people haven't really worried about their roofs or thought about them. So
Right.
they just kind of sat still. Well, at one point in time, you're going to see that drip forming and it's going to
Yeah.
start dripping on you, whether it's in the family room, the kitchen, whatever the case
Right.
might be. And then it's time to move. So we can
Got it.
react, we can get on the project right away to
Okay.
find out where it is and mitigate it for them.
That's awesome. All right. What's the best way to reach you guys?
Multiple ways to reach us through our website, which is envisionservicegroup.com. You can book appointments right
Spell it
online.
because it's not IN, is it?
No, it is ENENVISION servicegroup.com.
Okay.
You can call into our office, which is 480-535-6625. My direct line is 480-466-8767. And those are the quickest and easiest ways to reach us. Even during off hours, we can be reached. We do have a 24-hour call center that will handle calls.
Okay. Now, is it true that you guys give discounts to anybody from Chicago or Illinois?
Cub fans special, especially, but yes, by all means. Born and raised in the city of Chicago,
Yeah.
still have family there, and it's always enjoyable when somebody reaches out with an area code local to the region, and we make
Right.
that immediate connection.
There you go. I spent some time growing up in Chicago as well, and that classic Chicago accent, which you have, is always like music to my ears. I'm like, oh, there's somebody I can relate to for sure. And so many of us Chicago transplants that live out here, it can't be too hard to find, another like-minded person, whether they're a Bears fan, a Sox fan, a Cubs fan, Bulls fan, certainly all of the above. So that's awesome. Well, now you got the family in the business too, don't you?
Yes, actually, my wife started with the company first. She came on actually almost 10 years ago now,
Wow.
when Pete Schnepp, the owner, was looking to bring on an administrative assistant. He met with her through a mutual connection of ours, worked out right away, struck gold right away, and
Good.
she signed on with the company. Today, she happens to now be our director of operations.
Oh,
She
wow.
runs day-to-day operations of our crews. We have 16 painting crews, currently 4 roofing crews. So
Really?
she handles the scheduling and coordination of all that. I came on afterwards because as I met Pete and we got to talking a little bit, I was doing investment advisory services and retirement
Ah,
planning. We kind of got to talking along those lines, and then he asked if I'd be interested in helping to work together to build out the business. So I made the leap of faith, as I said, about 8 years ago, and
yeah.
well, here I am as director of sales.
How
So
about that? Good for
it's
you.
working.
That's awesome. Now, other than Accelerant, which is our business development platform, what else are you guys involved? You have BNI. I'm sure you guys are involved in BNI or a couple of those. And what about that? Is Tyler still in the business?
Tyler's still in the business. He
Okay.
is one of our senior estimators on the painting side,
All
and
right.
keeps him moving. And he enjoys meeting with people, working with people.
Oh,
He is actively involved in the BNI chapter. He is also in
okay.
another networking group called Legacy, and
Okay.
um, that is, as I
Oh,
said, where we really develop a lot of our relationships with people. We do some advertising, but not a tremendous amount of it.
got it.
But it's really been word of mouth and warm referrals over the years.
Well, that's great. I love the family approach you guys have with this. And I've talked to your wife a couple of times, especially through our project, but dealt with Tyler, almost exclusively. And he was absolutely a pro, chip off the old block, and does a great job. So always encourage anybody I'm talking with to talk to you and talk to Tyler about getting their job estimated and what's realistic for it. Making there's a lot of fly by nights, or it seems like you see a lot of painting trucks out there. You see a lot of guys that maybe they're not licensed, they're not regularly. You can always get it done cheaper. Rarely can you get it done better. And you guys do a fantastic job, and we really appreciate everything. Like I said, everything you've done for us.
The important thing is that we're going to be there for the homeowner, the tenant, whatever the case might
Hmm.
be, before, during, and after the project. Communication is extremely important. Knowing that they have a contact person to be able to reach here in the office, in addition to the foreman that's on site, is very important to the people, obviously. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, we're there for the follow-up also. In the event that there's any type of situation or if something doesn't quite look right, a day or
Hmm.
two later, a week or two
Yeah.
later, whatever the situation is, it always depends on where sun might be, shadow
Great
and
point.
things. We're
Exactly.
there and available for you to come
Yep.
back out, take a look at it, take care of it, and make sure
Yeah.
you're happy.
It's so interesting how the sun plays not tricks on your eyes, but with our project, it wasn't until late afternoon that we noticed, like, oh, hold on, is that shading? Or and then Tyler came right out. He's like, no, you're right. And I think 2 days later, he had guys out, finishing up one more time just to make sure it looked absolutely perfect. But middle of the day, you couldn't tell anything. And
Sun's
then
in
just
different
as the
places
lights,
this
yeah,
week.
exactly. As soon as the sun started to shine a little bit differently, and we made that phone call, he came right on out. He got the crew out here to get it all taken care of. And like I said, it looks, we get so many compliments from our neighbors about how great our house looks. We bought it 11 years ago. It was this chocolate brown, kind of a light and dark, light chocolate, dark chocolate with the tones on it. It looked old, it looked dated, it looked all of that. And now, whatever shade of white, I didn't realize there were so many different shades of white that we did. It looks fantastic. So yeah, it looks modern, it looks updated, certainly, both inside and out for my mother-in-law's. And as we get around to remodeling the inside of our house, which is kind of next on our list, we'll be reaching out to you guys to come in and take a look and see what we need to do here. As I'm thinking about, do you guys do texturing as well, or is it pretty much just the paint? Like, where do you guys start? Where do you stop?
Generally speaking, we will do that on a per request basis. And when I say that, I
Okay,
mean to the extent of what the job might entail. Within reason, we will take on the retexturing projects. We will not necessarily retexture an entire exterior of a home
okay,
or necessarily go through an entire interior and redo it. But if there are areas that need to be repaired because of maybe a water leak or pipe work that might have been done or electrical work or things like that, we can replace the
got it.
drywall, match and blend in the texturing and things like that.
Okay,
Situation will kind of merit its own diplomacy.
got it. Okay, and you're not doing new construction necessarily. You're not out there doing new construction residential or new construction multifamily.
At this point in time, we're not, although, again, if the situation warrants, we will look into it and talk with them about
Okay,
it. Sometimes scheduling is not the easiest of things to do from our standpoint when it comes to
got it.
new construction work, and we want to be
Okay.
respectful of both sides.
Sure.
So.
No, no, fair enough. That's very cool. Both of us being in, basically tied to real estate, have you found that with things being as slow as they have on the resale market, has that affected you guys? Do you think things will pick up as the resale market picks up and people are, moving in? You find that that'll kind of trigger things for you?
That will always trigger things. It was nice to hear what happened late last week with the potential of rates
You heard that,
decreases
huh?
coming along the lines. That's always an important thing. I've always been dialed into that type of
Okay.
information. So, yes, that does affect things. It affects things on both the buying side and the selling side, obviously,
Sure.
because the buyer will want their home done up the way they would like it to be,
Hmm.
especially before they wind up moving in, because it's so much easier to paint when there's
Right.
the house. And opposite of that, on the selling side, you may not necessarily have the most calm or uniform of colors, if anything. You may have
Right.
a boys' room in dark blue, a girls' room in pink, and they
Right.
may not sell very well. So we'll
Hmm.
come in and make sure everything is perfectly sellable and hopefully prepared for the next
Got
person.
it. So do you work with a lot of realtors then as they're getting out pre-listing and making suggestions to their sellers about decluttering and hey, we probably need to, repaint. Is there there used to be what they called realtor beige, which was what's the realtor color with regard to just kind of, creating a brand new palette? for
The all-purpose Swiss coffee has
Swiss
been
coffee.
the standard for a while now. It is
Okay.
a light tan basically, and it's rather amenable to either brown tones, gray tones, things like that. So if you're coming in with your own personal furniture into your new home, it will kind of work both ways.
Got it.
The nice neutral palette obviously is a great way to start, and then from there
Right.
can accent walls or whatever the case might be.
Got it. That's awesome. It seems like you roll into some of these the houses that are listed for sale, they're vacant and they're all the same color inside. So obviously there must be something that's, this is the one that's the most appealing to the eye. It's the one that you don't need to repaint, right away for. As soon as you move in, you can get in, leave it the way it is for a while, get yourself settled, and then decide, you know, what you want to do then.
And then sometimes the people that are selling, with all due respect, they think, oh, my house looks fine, neutral colors throughout, et cetera, et cetera. But then when they take their furnishings out and the things off the walls, all of a sudden
Ah,
they realize, "Well, maybe it doesn't look quite as fresh as we thought it did."
right?
So a quick refresh, not necessary throughout the entire house in some cases,
Okay,
just those certain areas. We're always cognizant of the fact that people don't necessarily will want to overspend, especially when they're selling. So we
right.
want to work within their budgets, make
Okay.
it look pretty, and then go from there.
I love it. I love it.
And
I've
we'll
got
help with the
clients.
roofing end also for that matter. So
Oh, great point. Yeah. Now,
if
are
an
you guys
inspection is
doing?
done and something needs to be looked at, we will be there to take care
I,
of it for
I,
them.
I was just going to. Are you doing roofing inspections?
We can, yes. Mhm.
Okay. So
So
if
if a
I've got a.
realtor calls us up and wants us to walk the roof, whether again,
Right.
buyer side or seller side, we're
Okay.
more than willing to do that and at least point out things. And if it comes to fruition, fine. If not, but at least they know what they've got.
Well, that's it. I appreciate that. Oftentimes, you see that the home inspection. One of my buyers will have the home inspection done, and the home inspector will call out and say, "I'm a little concerned what I saw on the roof or what I'm seeing on the inside with regard to some stains on the ceiling. I'm going to suggest that you have somebody out and take a look at this." And I just haven't put two and two together to go, well, hold on. We need to give Bruce and the team at Envision a call, have them come out, take a look at the roof, give the buyer a realistic idea. Does it need to be replaced or does it need to be patched? Are the stains on the inside serious or, you know, too often, there was a leak or something happened 4 or 5 years ago. The
Exactly.
sellers are like, you know what, we haven't had a problem since then, but there's still that brown stain on the ceiling, right? And how
Right.
often in the garage do we see that, especially where there may not be any insulation or anything else absorbing any of that stuff that's coming through, and you don't know whether you really have an issue or not. And it could potentially kill a deal. The buyer's uncomfortable. They don't know for sure. The sellers are like, it's fine. Nothing's happened in years. And yeah, we're at an impasse. The sellers don't want to pay to replace it. The buyers don't want to buy it unless they know it's good to go. So giving you guys a call, they have a really good look at it and go, hey, everything's fine. Listen, a little patch over here. There's some underlayment issues, or yeah, you've got a serious issue, and we need to get up there and take a look at it. It was good to know during those. We call them the BINSR, the buyer's inspection notice, seller's response period, which is
Exactly.
typically only about 10 days. Those first 10 days of the contract. It sounds like you guys can get out there quickly as needed to make sure that we're getting those inspections done within that time period.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Good to know. Well, very cool. What can I share with you about what we're up to?
Well, we just started touching on it. There was as we said, an interesting announcement that came late last week that sparked the the stock markets and things. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it a little bit. What are your thoughts and
Yeah.
going forward there?
It's been a crazy month, really, since the Fed decided not to lower the federal funds rate a few weeks ago, based on what we believe to be very inaccurate news with regard from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS. So this is supposed to be a nonpartisan group who came out and tells us what the labor supply numbers look like on a monthly basis. Well, they'll come out in a month, they'll give us the numbers, the market will expect a certain number, and then both the stock market and the bond market will react based on whether the numbers came in higher than expected or lower than expected. Because what's been happening for about the last year is the numbers come out, it shows that the labor market's really strong, and then when they announce that number, they'll revise the previous month's number or the previous 2 months' numbers. And if the Fed knew that the labor market was as soft as it is, it's likely that they would have lowered the federal funds rate a couple of weeks ago. So on a Wednesday, the Fed came out and said, we're not lowering the federal funds rate. Market was like, oh, we could really use that to kind of ignite things. And then on Friday, 2 days later, the Bureau of Labor Statistics comes out with a much lower labor number than we expected. And they revised the previous 2 months down dramatically, like the largest reductions we've ever seen, which didn't make any sense. Now, the Fed didn't come back out and say, whoa, 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 sorry, we didn't make our decision on the right data. No, they just said, well, we're going to meet again in 6 weeks and we'll talk about it then. Well, the market went kind of crazy. We saw a nice little pullback in mortgage rates, knowing even more so that it looks like the Fed is going to lower when they meet again on September 17th. Well, once a year, the Fed and a whole body of economists get together in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And then on the Friday at the end of the week, the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, comes out and kind of gives his impression on what the meeting was about, what his thoughts are about the economy. And what he said was, it looks like he kind of signaled to us that he'll be lowering the federal funds rate for sure when they meet again. And the market did a quick drop, which was fantastic. I mean, by the time I got to my computer on Friday morning, we were down about 0.25% lower in interest rates. And what I put out this morning in a text alert, an SMS blast to all the realtors I work with, is that right now I can get an FHA borrower into a 5/1 ARM. So the loan's going to be fixed for the first 5 years of the 30 years at below 5%. Under
That is
5%.
quite the number. That is
I tell
quite
you
a number
what,
we have not seen in quite some time.
I tell you, something with a four handle on it, with a four in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, this is
Yes.
crazy. And then a 7-year fixed. So a 30-year fixed rate loan fixed for the first seven. So a 7-year ARM basically is
Mhm.
right now sitting at about 5.5%. So interest rates have gotten dramatically better from a monthly payment standpoint. On a typical $500,000 loan, that payment's about $350 less a month than it was a month ago. So we're talking about being able to help buyers get into a higher purchase price less expensively, or make that monthly payment even lower for the house that they did find at a price point that works for them. So we're excited about the direction we're headed, hoping that this will really kind of stimulate the market for us.
I think it's very exciting because it could also potentially bring people back into the market that could not be in the market previously because of the numbers that we're mathing out
Exactly.
for them.
That's exactly right.
Very, very heartwarming to hear this.
Yeah, the last couple of years we've seen rates in that 7%, 6.75, almost 8%. All
Hmm.
of those buyers we're reaching out to saying, hey, it might be time to take a look at refinancing. We don't know that how much lower it's going to go, but while we've got it down here, let's get you out of the 7.25 and into 5.75. Let's put you into a 7.6 ARM where you'll know what your rate's going to be for the next 7 years. And if they get better, we'll refinance again. We can always refinance again. Yeah, there's closing costs involved, typically around $2,500, give or take. But the reality, spending $2,500 to save $350 a month is a no-brainer. So we are keeping our fingers crossed that we continue on the trend with interest rates. Got a lot of buyers that are kind of hanging out, waiting for the market to soften up a little bit. It's a buyer's market. We've got sellers that have had houses on the market for 60, 90 days that are willing to discount the price. They're willing to pay the closing costs on behalf of a buyer. They're willing to buy the interest rate down, both temporarily or permanently, to let a buyer get into the home a little less expensively per month. So it's a great time to be a buyer, especially in the under $500,000 price point.
And that's something that's really become a bit of a dramatic swing because for a long time it was really a seller's market there
Yeah,
for a period of time. So,
you're exactly right.
and
Yeah.
are you seeing a lot of movement now because of that? Has there been a lot of change recently over the last couple of months, basically?
You know what? Not so far. I think we're
Okay.
kind of stuck in the summer doldrums still, the dog
Okay.
days of summer.
Hmm.
School is just starting again, like you were saying. People are kind of been, if they didn't move in May and June, July, they took off and, went out of town, family vacations, whatever. As we get back into the beginning of the fourth quarter, I think early into October, we're going to see things kick back up. September, I'm hoping to be a big month for people going, okay, we've been waiting for a while. Now it might be time to give Christopher a call and talk about where the rates are. Are we going to be ready? Because I think, and I've only been doing this for 34 years, but I think that when it turns, it's going to turn quick from a buyer's market to a seller's market. We have so many pent up buyers on the sideline waiting for the rates to come down, the market to soften, that when we get those rates in consistently into the fives, I think we're going to have this, people just like Tyler, that age group where they've been kind of sitting back, waiting. I did a podcast earlier with one of our accelerator partners who's in his mid 20s, does it, makes a good living, has good credit, has a little bit of money for a down payment, but he's kind of thinking, do I want to wait a little longer? Am I really ready? These price points are a little high. And I'm like, as soon as the market turns, it's the first time buyers that are going to be out. The 3% down, the zero down payment assistance program. The sellers aren't going to accept that offer when somebody else is coming in at 20% down and not
Mhm.
asking for any closing cost concessions. So I feel like we've got this window open right now that if we can get the buyers, especially the first time buyers, off the fence and just talk about the process, what's available to them, I think we could really light things up. So I feel like I'm shooting from the rooftops here and trying to let all of those 25 to 34-year olds know that, hey, if you haven't bought a house already, now is the time. And I've got a lot of parents co-signing for their sons and daughters to help them get into their first place because people are getting married later in life. They're committing to relationships later in life. So there's not that, like when you and I were younger, you got married, you had a kid, then you bought a house, and by the time you were 30, you had three kids and you had a mortgage and all of that. Well, at this point, our kids aren't doing that. They're waiting to get married longer. So they're by themselves and they're like, I can't afford a $3,000 a month house payment on a single person's income. Well, that's probably true. But if mom and dad co-sign for you, and then you moved a roommate in who helped to pay the mortgage, and you still own the house independently. We refinance later on to get mom and dad off the mortgage, but we can do that on a zero down loan, on a down payment assistance program. So,
And these are the various programs and things that are currently available now that may not necessarily be available to them
yep,
60 or 90 days on the line, depending on how things go.
that's
And
right.
couple that with the fact that if they happen to see or find the house that they feel to them is the perfect house, why lose out on it? Grab
Exactly.
it while it's there. And like you said, come
Hmm.
back to you, refinance, rework the numbers as time moves forward.
Yep.
But you've got the house that made you happy, and you're not going to look back on it and go, wow, I really should have done that.
Yeah, all of that is exactly right. Think about when the market does kick in and all the demand picks up, what's going to happen to the values? They're going to get pushed up. So now you're paying more for the same house you could have paid less for 6 months or a year ago. But if you own it, now you're the one sitting in your house, watching the neighbors sell for more and more, watching your equity position, your value go up based on what you paid for it at maybe it's a higher rate, then we refinance to a lower rate. Now it's a win-win. But I feel like we're struggling getting the message out there to those first time buyers that you want the higher price for the houses to be paid by somebody else, not by you. And those
Right.
higher prices are going to lift all boats. So all of a sudden the whole neighborhood values are going up. And all you're doing is making your house payment while your house appreciates in value. So yeah, that's the message I'm trying to get out for sure. To get to our first time buyers and have them really just at the very least be willing to have a conversation and not believe what you see on TikTok and Instagram and all the social media and even Chat GPT. You need to have a personal consultation with a certified mortgage advisor like myself or somebody like me who can sit down with you on Zoom, do a screen share, walk you through all of your options, peel the curtain back and go, here's the reality. It's only about credit, your income, and your down payment. And we can lay those out on the screen, show you what your situation looks like, and at least educate you about what those options are. And then when you're ready, we're here for you. So that is
That's
certainly our
exactly what I was
goal.
going to say. That's the best thing people could do is have that conversation with you. Uh, at least ask the questions, gather the information, present their information to you, and see what potentially is realistic or what plans or programs are out there that
Yeah.
many of us simply do not know about. And
Right.
that's your
Yeah.
forte to be able to bring to the table and say, you can do this, you can look at this, you can look at this or that,
Yeah.
and this is what's going to get you into your home. That's
Exactly.
where I will always be looking for people to just turn to you and have them talk to
Well,
you.
thank
That's
you.
huge.
I appreciate that. And I really appreciate your time. Tell us real quick again, best way to get a hold of you directly.
Best way to get a hold of me, my direct cell phone number, 480-466-8767. My email, Bruce at Envision, with an E, envisionservicegroup.com, or
Perfect.
our regular office number, 480-535 6625.
Perfect. Bruce, we're going to put that in a little caption below when we get this all edited. But until then, always a pleasure. Love seeing you at all of our Accelerate meetings. And I know we got some open houses. We got a breakfast, big breakfast coming up here soon. I'm sure you guys will put on, your usual big deal at the expo and be well represented there. So, hey, thanks for spending time with us. Always great to see you. Tell Tyler and your wife that I said hi, and I'm sure I'll see you soon.
It's been a pleasure. Christopher, thank you so much. You have a great afternoon.
You got it, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, that was awesome. Well, thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that. I'll send you a
Thank you
copy
very
once we
much.
get it sliced and diced. Make sure you're good with that. Then we'll get it published on the podcast and see if we can share that.
Sounds fantastic. Will I see you
Awesome.
tomorrow, Paul Martins?
Tomorrow, Paul Martins, what's going
Tomorrow,
on here?
9:30, we have something tomorrow. One of the subgroups is tomorrow.
Let's
Let's
see
see
here.
here.
No,
It
I do not have that
is,
one on the,
oh, contractors and facilities management.
yep, not one of my regulars.
Oh, did you freeze?
Have I lost you? Oh, you're frozen too. You back?
Now we're back.
Yeah. No, I'm not on, I'm not, how many people are going to the contractors now?
The last turnout we had was very, very nice. We did have about 20 people present, so we'll see what
Wow.
happens this go around.
Okay. All right.
Now that we've kind of meshed the two groups together, it turns out to be a pretty um, rambunctious group of
I'll
people.
bet. I'll
Got to
bet.
move things through quickly to fit in the time frame.
But yeah, I'll have to invite myself as a guest here before too long and sit in on one of those. I'm taking a realtor partner golfing tomorrow morning about 8:30, hoping we
Nice.
don't get rained out based on what the weather looks like. But
Exactly.
yeah, well, it's starting to feel like Chicago weather out there with just the hot and the humid, and
I
don't
don't
miss
want to
that at
talk
all.
about that because Kim and I are heading that way to visit my
Are
in-laws.
you?
Late next week, we head out for
Okay.
about a week's time. So,
There
yeah,
you go.
I'm not looking forward to 80+% humidity by any stretch.
You forget how hot
Yes,
is when the humidity kicks in. Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll have a great time. Maybe the weather will break for you. And
fingers
yeah,
crossed.
either way, I'll see you soon, no doubt. Take care, buddy.
Absolutely. Take care of
Thanks.
yourself.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye.